Hey, good morning, IED students. Mr. Pike here. We want to look at drawing our loft, which is our next drawing in the certification process for certification in Parts Studio. So when we are using our drawing platform, I'm going to try and go back and forth so you can see the slides that you will be working with. The loft, we're going to start with sketching on the top plane. We're going to sketch a simple geometric pattern here, and then we're going to come back and start adding our dimensional constraints. So in Onshape, we're going to create a new document. We're going to call this model and then our last name. And when we do that, we're going to Shift S to select sketch on the top plane, right click, and we'll view normal to sketch plane so that we have our piece of transparent drawing paper in 2D format. From there, I'm going to start with a rectangle. So I'm going to use a center point rectangle, which is R on my keyboard, or on the quick access toolbar up here. You can select it, and I'm going to draw it from origin, and I'm going to just snap it in place. From there, I'm going to want to do a 3-point arc, which will be A on my keyboard. And with a 3-point arc, you need 3 things. You need a starting point, an ending point, and then you need a radius. And again, I'm just going to make something similar to the drawing that we saw in our slide deck. I will do the same thing to the bottom. And from here, I can escape my arc command by right-clicking. You can also hit escape on your keyboard. And I'm going to want to make sure that I match up my drawing. And the one thing that I'm going to want to do is change these object lines to construction lines. So a couple of things I can do. I can hover over each of the individual lines. I can right-click and then go down to the construction feature. And there are a couple other things like Q on the keyboard, or you can activate the construction command once you turn on the line command in the future if you'd like. But now that I have this so that it represents what I need, I can start adding my other constraints. In this case, I'm going to add some dimensional constraints. But before I do that, I want to actually apply a radius command here. So I'm going to add a fillet, and the fillet is going to be between the arc and the line, and I left click on each of those, and then you can select the radius that you want, which will be in metric units, and you can see that I am in US Imperial. So how I change that, I go up to the top left above the quick access toolbar to the document menu. I can scroll down to workspace units, and I'm going to want to change my default unit from inch to millimeter. And while I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and change pound to gram. It could be gram or kilogram, and then I'll activate it. Well, once I do that, obviously I'm going to need to right click and edit the sketch again. So now I can pull this radius dimension out, and I can change this to 8.5. And now the good news is, once I have the original, I can quickly pull the others out by left clicking. It keeps my 8.5. It's giving me the green left click check, and it automatically applies that fillet constraint across the edge. The next step for us is to add our dimensional constraints to the part. So I can select dimension from the quick access toolbar, or D on the keyboard, and a couple things. The overall length is going to be 100. So I'm hovering and left clicking to activate. The overall height that I want, and this will be from the line commands here. Horizontal lines will be 40. And then the final one that I'm going to want for this part is this radius. This radius here, I'm going to want it to be 200. And I could apply an equal constraint to those if I wanted, but it's much quicker at this point to go ahead and add that in. And now that I'm done, I'm probably going to have you go up to the edit feature here and change this to the bottom profile, and you can save this sketch. And I will see you in the next video, part 2, where we will start adding our offset work planes.